Hello, RJB here, and today we're gonna have a replay and a recording, hopefully without any issues with the OBS studio recorder, because the previous set I did was between Brain and Rabbit. The set was very exciting, but there turned out to have been a lot of problems after I recorded it with the recording itself. So I removed that video because it simply wasn't watchable at all. So now I fixed everything. At least I hope I fixed everything. I hope I fixed the laggy video. I hope I fixed the skipping of frames, the video getting stuck. I hope I fixed the sound there as well, because that was really bothersome. It really annoyed me. It annoyed me so much that I didn't want that video to be up any longer. I just wanted it to be gone. Maybe a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction, but nonetheless, I don't think it's worth it to have a video of such low quality up on the channel. So now you might be wondering, after that lengthy talk, who are we watching here? Who is FISWWELKRJL? Who is it? Who could this be? It's the player Minchul Park, or Park Minchul, as they would say it in Korea. Park Minchul. And his opponent here is LLILILILI98989, also known as the player LuckyBack, and he's doing a mid-build proxy gateway, and he has immediately found his opponent on the very first scouting attempt, because the very first place or location or spawn that you scout is of course a middle spot, because the distance is so much smaller than to a corner spot. You want the timing of your gateways to be warping in by about the time that the pylon there on the middle finishes. So that's what he did. Sent a probe to the middle at 7 supply, built this on 8 supply, and then has of course on 10 supply or 9 supply he has these two gateways being warped in. So he found his opponent on the very first attempt, and his opponent is not very well prepared because his opponent didn't see this entire mid build, because he very conveniently scouted exactly around this proxy mid build. But Minchul is one of the best Terran players on fastest map, so I think he'll crawl his way out of this situation that he's found himself in without all too much problem, I assume. I think he's going to be just fine. I think he's going to claw himself out of this. Well, I hope I didn't jinx it. I hope I didn't ruin his chances, but I think he's going to be fine. Because there's something I've learned, and that is that a proxy mid-gate, 3-gate build order doesn't really work against Koreans. Even if Koreans are doing it against Koreans, it doesn't really work. Sometimes it does, but most of the time it does not. Unlike the Western scene, where this build order works a lot and very often, but there is a reason why it doesn't work against Koreans, and that is their multitasking and their micro. Their micro is on a higher level than the foreign fastest scene, so it often really just happens to work out just perfectly fine. There's two cannons there being warped in the front there, while he is distracted with his zealotry on the bottom, trying to pick off those depots and get Minchul's supply stuck, and getting his marines out of location, out of position, now trying to get those zealots there behind those marines, but Minchul responds just in time, blows up his bunker, reloads it as well. Cannon there in the front has finished, another cannon there is on the way, he gets his round on the bunker, tries to kill the bunker in the front, and in the process he's going to get taking a lot of damage on his zealots, which might make this exchange entirely not worth it, although look at this, look at this, look at this. He managed to force those marines away because zealots are so damn beefy, but the zealots now being a low HP should be getting out microed here by those marines, and he actually does manage to kill all the zealots that were there, despite LuckyBack's very well attempted setup, which now means that these cannons here in the front are going to go down, because the distance between this cannon in the back and the cannons here in the front is a little bit too great, although now he's losing a lot of his marines there to the cannons, but eventually he manages to kill all the cannons that he needed to kill to buy himself time for the stim upgrade to be started. He has medics there soon to be on the way as well. He's no longer supply stuff because he made new depots there on the bottom, and he's got a factory on the way there as well, but the factory is placed kind of far in the front there. And then in response to all this, LuckyBack is starting a double assimilator there at his home base, because he knows he now needs gas in order to keep advancing, because he can no longer advance with just cannons and zealots alone. Although the cannons are very slowly pushing forward, but I think Minchul will be able to buy himself just enough time to get the factory up and running and the machine shop as well. although there's a small chance that this factory is a little bit too close to the cannons here, and LuckyBack might be able to push forward a little bit closer to the factory, which will force Minchul to lift it up and discontinue his upgrade on the siege mode. But I'm not too sure about that one yet. He has an engineering bay here on the way, just in case Dark Templars are on the way. He's got a barracks being built here, right next to LuckyBack's base. LuckyBack is already making a cannon there to protect his minerals, but that might not be enough. He does have a probe there on the side to detect, so he knows that he might know that a barracks is being flown in, unless Minchul decides to change trajectory and go a little bit higher and place the barracks there. Because once he's up on the hill, you can see the probe, and he knows that how to avoid getting spotted out by that probe. So he goes in here on the bottom side. He sees that there's a lot of Zealots that are coming in. LuckyBack is really trying his hardest to try and get cannons on these barracks and on the factory, but I think the factory will finish and will have its siege mode ready. So the tank will finish, be placed right about here. Siege mode will then be finished, and he will clear out the cannons here in the front and most likely stay alive. Although there's a small chance that won't happen because there's a Citadel of Aduna on the way, which means that we're going to be seeing Dark Templars from LuckyBack. Although it looks like Minchul has a lot of turrets there already positioned around his base to protect himself against Dark Templars, but there is a small chance he might be able to do some damage with those Dark Templars, or there's even a small chance he's just going for regular Templars. He has some options, although right now at the moment he is staring down a pretty scary situation. Firebat here is being produced, but LuckyBack already knows it's on the way. He's building one more cannon there to protect his minerals, but there's a small chance Minchul can sneak his way through and get some probe kills there, although now Zealot is moving into locations to try and stop this from happening. Firebat there on the way. Firebat has to upgrade. Is he going in? Fight's happening on two sides at the same time. The Firebat goes down before it kills any probes, which now means that the fight was happening here, which I almost entirely missed. Also went in favor of Minchul, who is now pushing back against the cannon push that was being employed against him and is looking to break free. Break free of this contain, although LuckyBack is not planning on giving him time to do so because he's already making new cannons on the top side, but another tank has finished. Dropship is also on the way, so I am expecting a drop on the minerals of LuckyBack in the very near future. Looks like his marines here are stuck. He's stimming out. He's trying to stop these cannons from getting being warped in and finishing, whereas LuckyBack is getting Minchul supplies on the top side by killing depot, so now more depots are being built here on the bottom side, which will soon finish. He also had added another command center, has a scan in there. Tanks are going a little bit too far forward, meaning they take damage and might barely survive. Only a single cannon shot was left and remaining. He cleared out the barrack there on the side. He's hovering an engineering bay there on the bottom side. Science facility there as well, so he has the science facility up and running already. Tank drop now on the way to LuckyBack's base. LuckyBack doesn't really have that many cannons around his nexus. There's a pretty great spot to land right there on the bottom side, which I think Minchul knows exists because he has a scan. Wait, he scans right now. He scanned this portion there. He's also pushing out here in the front, trying to kill those Dark Templars that are trying to sneak in and deal some damage, but I think those Dark Templars are not going to achieve all that much. Although now the Dark Templars are on top of the tank, but the tank drop here happening at the same time. Tank drop is not unloading because Minchul is focusing on his base. Now it's unloads. He gets shot up on the probes, and the probes are gonna go down. Kills 20 probes in total. Only 19 left. Gets another shot up on the other pile, so 29 probes there have gone down for LuckyBack, and Minchul now only has to take care of this Dark Templar right there before he can keep on advancing outwards into the middle of the map. Although LuckyBack now there has a Templar, but he doesn't have Storm upgrade finished yet. He doesn't have energy for the Storm either. So he's gonna try to pick that one up and try to salvage the game by landing a Storm drop on Minchul's minerals. Whether he can do it or not, that's the big question here, and whether it will be enough is also another big question, because this is a lot of tanks, a lot of marines there for Minchul, who is now choking up his front, aiming to defend himself and push forward afterwards after killing those cannons there, while the dropship is, well, the shuttle is moving in for LuckyBack here on the top side of the map. This is going to be a very tense situation, because this could salvage the match if it storms big and massively on Minchul's minerals. In it comes. Minchul is not responding yet. Minchul responds, he saw it, and he saves most of his workers there, having them hotkeyed, pulling them off the minerals pretty much instantly. Kills almost nothing whatsoever with the Storm, whereas the pusher in the front is still happening. Very slowly leapfrogging forward, sieging, unsieging, gaining ground. And the tug of war is at the moment definitely going in favor of Minchul, whereas LuckyBack is losing these cannons from the middle very quick, is forced to cancel structures from the middle because those cannons are now unpowered, which now means that Minchul is actually already going to win this nail-biter of a game within only a matter of minutes. Well, he's trying to find a way in, but he gets spotted out by a science facility there as well, and there's two turrets there in between, and he knows the game is over, so he calls the GG, and Minchul wins within only 10 minutes and 14 seconds against a failed mid-build proxy gateway from LuckyBack. And this is probably one of the main reasons why you never really see this build order being employed within the Korean scene, because the Marine micro simply beats the Zealot micro. The Zealots don't really stand much of a chance. The cannons don't really stand much of a chance. And if you can micro your Marines really well on an 8 barrack build order, meaning you have one more Marine out earlier than if you did a 9 barrack build order, well, the micro from the Marines simply outclashes the Zealots, who have to more or less chase the Marines around. And yeah, that's why you never see this. In the foreign scene, in like SCW, you will see this strategy employed a lot to great success. That is entirely because most players in the foreign scene do a barrack at 9 supply instead of 8 supply, and their Marine micro is actually not as good as the Korean Marine micro is. It's an interesting match. The score is 1-0 for Minchul. Time to head on to game number 2 and see who wins that one, and see how this series progresses. So game number 2 has started, and for game number 2 we have Minchul playing the red Protoss here, and we've got LuckyBack playing the white Terran on the middle left of the map. Minchul on the top right of the map. Going to speed up the first 2 minutes and see what is going to happen within those first 2 minutes, so we can start to jump to some conclusions as to what their plans are. LuckyBack starts off with an 8 barracks, 9 supply, of course a 10 depot followed up right afterwards. And then an 11 depot there as well, of course, so 3 barracks for LuckyBack, who recognizes he needs more Marines than he usually does to fight against Minchul's Protoss, who has probably one of the best fastest map Protosses and very creative build orders that rely very heavily on precise micro and execution and timing. So it's all about control and timing for Minchul, who also just so happens to have amazing macro. Starts off with the Nexus, well, pylon at 8, Nexus, Forge, Gateway, 2 cannons are in the front after that pylon, and that's his choke. So he is planning on keeping LuckyBack out of his base in the foreseeable future, whereas LuckyBack is planning on trying to stop this from happening. But considering he has not found his opponent yet, the plan of stopping those cannons from happening is not going to yield results. Minchul, knowing that LuckyBack is trying to make it to stop the cannons from finishing, had some probes prepared there already, but it just so happens he never needed them there. But it's better to be safe than sorry. It does cost him some minerals, some income, but it's something he is prepared to sacrifice, because losing those cannons in the front really does expose his base to a lot of pain, a lot of hurt that he might never recover from. Cybercore close to finishing. LuckyBack, knowing that Minchul has no units out on the map, discontinues Marine production as his tradition and makes 2 command centers as his tradition to boost up his worker count right about the 5-minute mark or the 6-minute mark, where he'll be skyrocketing in worker count to match with Minchul's worker count. And then around the 11 or 12 or 13-minute mark, he'll have a full base and full fighting ability. But the question is, will he last that long? Will he bite the dust before then? Will he call the GG before then? Because Minchul is one of those players who is very good at utilizing his tech tree and abusing all the weaknesses a Terran has. LuckyBack though, balling up his Marines there. Well, walling up his Marines, not quite balling them up, but he's walling them up here in the front. Dragoon there in the front trying to get out. But that's a very, very scary prospect there for LuckyBack as he sees the Dragoon. The Dragoon being spotted though does give LuckyBack an option in regards to what to do. Although at the moment he doesn't really have an answer for Dragoons, but I don't think Minchul is actually going to go for Dragoons. He just has a single one to help defend in case LuckyBack grows aggressive. But his real plan is most likely Dark Templars. He has 2 gateways and a Stargate. Maybe he's not going for Dark Templars. Maybe he's going for a single shuttle into a Templar Storm drop. Although I don't see the support bay just yet. I expect it to be built very, very soon. There is the support bay. He's not wasting his pylons there on the side. He's using them to spread out his tech, making it very hard for LuckyBack to spot which tech his opponent has. He scans there at the Nexus, sees a Cyber Core, a Stargate, and nothing else. He sees there in the front a single Robo, which might lead him to believe that Minchul is up to something slightly different than the usual. But we're gonna have to wait and see what it is. Well, he's gonna have to wait and see what it is because we can already see it. Corsair there, moving across the map. It's going to fly over LuckyBack's base, get information, and help Minchul formulate what to do. Although it's going to fly into a turret here in the front and into some Marines, he very quickly redirects it and keeps the Corsair alive. Scouts the entire base there of Minchul, who now... Well, I mean of LuckyBack, not of Minchul, but he scouts the entire base almost entirely. He didn't scout the bottom side there where he had his factory, but I think he assumes that he has a factory at around this time. He scouts it there nonetheless, so now he has full information of everything LuckyBack has. LuckyBack here, though, going for the frontal attack with those Marines, but he's running those Marines into those cannons. The cannons are actually... Are they gonna go down? The cannons are actually all gonna go down, and LuckyBack has broken himself through that frontal portion there. Only one cannon remaining. Medics not healing, but the medics nonetheless do their job. He killed the frontal portion there, and now LuckyBack is looking at a pretty good game. Although Dark Templars already on the way here, but I don't think... Well, actually, he might just be in time for that to work out perfectly fine. Also, he's making a command center there on the bottom side of the map, so he can build a nuke. Snipes the shuttle. With the scan, he gets vision on top of the hill. He's gonna take down that Templars Archive there too. He's building a pylon there. He tried to kill the probe, but first he goes for the Templars Archive, knowing that more Dark Templars can be queued up. Minchul has a lot of tech there on the way, already has recall there on the way. He was definitely planning on recalling a mind-controlled SCV, but that's gonna work out for him. Once again, Dark Templars are attacking the Marines. LuckyBack is gonna have to run for his life here. He did a lot of damage, slowed Minchul down significantly, and now Minchul has a lot of units here on the way to try and mend the situation, but LuckyBack is honestly in a pretty comfortable spot here. He's in a pretty comfortable spot, although his mass is abysmal. You could even say that he doesn't even have a mass. He doesn't have a mass, basically. He pretty much lost everything he had to that frontal attack, but likewise Minchul doesn't have much of his own, but Minchul is going to be exploding an army size very soon because he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gateways prepared to make units, and he will soon probably also have an arbiter on the map, which will help him a lot. He has all the upgrades for ground on the way there as well. Fighting happening in the middle of the map. He killed the Archon. He's going to kill the Dark Templar there too, and he stops the block there from happening. LuckyBack is being very, very proactive here. He's being very proactive, and I'm really liking his approach here, although now, oh, he immediately scans the Dark Templars, seeing the disruption as he was looking there already, and he kills all the Dark Templars there. He does lose about 7 or 8 of his Marines there on the middle. Well, I mean 5 or 6, not 7 or 8, but he gets stuff done. But Minchul now having an army of his own, not that big, but he's got something. He's moving out over the middle of the map, trying to stop these Marines from killing all the pylons there and the probe. So he's trying to mend the situation and stop his wounds from bleeding, because LuckyBack is in a pretty good spot. He's got tanks there moving down to the bottom side of the map, and actually he didn't make a command center there. He made a starport there, and he's got a dropship there on the way, so he's going to try to sneak in those tanks outside of the vision of Minchul, so Minchul will not know what's up, and his dropship will come from an angle that Minchul isn't expecting. But Minchul has a vision there on the bottom side because he has a shuttle there with a Dark Archon in it, and he has some cannons there at his Nexus already up and running. LuckyBack here doesn't have a wall yet, so he will have to finish that wall very soon if he wants to keep Minchul out of his base. Minchul has a drop. No, that's a Corsair there on the top side, so he doesn't have a drop just yet. He could discontinue his drop because he lost his Robo, so he had to make a new Robo, so no drop is coming out for Minchul. Instead, Minchul is going for more gateway units, knowing he has to start punching at his opponent very soon, very quick, and if he wants to stand a chance. But LuckyBack now already has 5 factories, and number 6 is there on the way. 5 barracks is there as well. He's making a science facility there now too, and he's making command center number 4. So LuckyBack is actually is actually perfectly fine here. Although he gets spotted out there on the bottom side, and he actually mind controlled an SCV, and he's pulling the mind controlled SCV back to his own base, but the tank drop is flying towards Minchul's base there as well. There's nothing in between it. He does have some Zealots here located, but I don't think he's going to pull Zealots up in time, because he's planning on going for the front of attack here, because he has maxed out his supply at 200. Despite the harass he's been experiencing, not enough cannons there, he unloads the tanks, and he doesn't get a kill at all. He doesn't kill anything at all, because the probes actually helped kill the tanks. Absolutely great pull there from Minchul, pulling all the probes into the tanks and helping killing the tanks before they can shoot. Smart move. Arbiters here on the way for Minchul as well. LuckyBack now moving into the middle of the map, trying to be aggressive here, but he might actually be going out a little bit too soon. I think he's assuming that Minchul is smaller than he actually is, and he might be spreading himself too thin here, setting himself up on the middle of the map, while Minchul has Templars there with his mass, and he's gonna go in, get a pretty good surround there on those units from LuckyBack there on the middle. And if LuckyBack had only waited a little bit longer, he would have been completely fine, but now he's getting overrun by these level 1 upgraded gateway units from Minchul here, and his Marines are getting stormed to death. His tanks are going down very quick, and he's almost lost all his units here on the middle of the map, although now he might just be fine. No, the storm there saves the day and kills all the remaining Marines that he had there, and now those Dragoons are pulling back, waiting for more reinforcements, and LuckyBack is still planning on moving and pushing forward into the middle of the map, although that might just be a little bit too much for him to handle, because look at all these units here spawning from Minchul. Arbiter there as well, command center there finishing up as well, though I don't think he's going to have a factory up and running in time. I actually think he's going to finish and seal the deal with all these Zealots and Dragoons here on the middle, because that's a lot of Zealots Dragoons, and more Zealots Dragoons are coming in. Zealots Dragoons here on the bottom side as well, and he's got Arbiter too. Arbiter has stasis and recall, so he's just going to have to walk in there and kill these remaining units, probably stasis and tanks, and win himself the game, because LuckyBack is being too impatient and wants to end this too quick. And in goes Minchul. Storm comes down on the Arbiter invisible units, and he's running over the tanks, getting right on top of them. Dragoons are in the back, so assisting. Another scan comes down to keep detecting, but I think this is the game. I think this... Ooh, another great stages there coming down on 3 of the 5 tanks that were still there, and LuckyBack calls GG because he was simply way too greedy. He put his units out into harm's way, and as a result, pretty much immediately lost his units within only 2 mass attacks there from Minchul. The first one was fought really well, but the second one, ooh, he simply kept losing too many units. He lost way too many units to those Templar Storms from Minchul, who had very accurate and well executed Templar Storms. LuckyBack's base wasn't completely finished yet, because we were only 11 minutes and 43 seconds into the game. He did have some leftover minerals, but he played this one really well, up until the point where he decided to throw away his mass on the middle, assuming Minchul was more hurt than he actually was. And kudos to Minchul for actually going the correct course of action there. He went for the correct course of action. Didn't have a lot of gateways. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's quite a nice number. He's got about 2 there, another 6 in total there, then another 8 for a total of 14, and 18 there in total. And he had more of them on the way as well, so right there for a total of 20. It looks a bit messy, but it got the trick done. Got the trick done. Great use of his tech, great use of his gateway units, and gets himself the 2-0 already. We've got more replays, so let's move on to game number 3 and see who wins that one. So LuckyBack, despite playing a very good Terran, makes one single absolutely monumental mistake, and he instantly loses the match. Had he camped it out for a little bit longer, up until about 14 minutes in, I think he would have been completely fine, as he would have had a completely filled out base and won that one. So kind of sad to see him throw that lead away. Considering it would have been the Terran vs Protoss win, just like the very first game where Minchul won Terran vs Protoss as well, which is always way more interesting to see than seeing a Protoss win and beat a Terran. But all that aside though, this game we've got a little bit of surprise, because we're playing Protoss versus Protoss. Minchul here on the teal Protoss on the middle left of the map, or you can also call it spot number 9. And whereas we have LuckyBack here in spot number 6 on the bottom middle of the map. Gonna speed up the remaining 1.5 minutes. Both players starting out with a pylon at 8 supply and also going for a nexus at about the exact same time. Well, LuckyBack's nexus is a little bit later. His forge is also a little bit later. And his gateway there is pretty much at about the exact same time as his opponents. As you can see right there, pretty much the exact same timing. The nexuses are a little bit off. The forge also already finished there for Minchul. So cannon should be on the way right there right now. LuckyBack's cannon coming in right now. Both players doing the exact same thing. Although now, Minchul is going for an early gas, whereas LuckyBack hasn't started his gas just yet. It comes out just about now. Which should also be a very small difference. Although he makes 2 gazers instead of 1. That's already foreboding that he's going for tech. A heavier tech build than his opponent. Because look, Minchul going there for a 1 more gateway for 2 gateways in total. Both players have their cyber cores up and running, both players have their cannons finishing up, and their second nexus also finishing up. So both players now starting the mine from their gas. Minchul is a little bit ahead in his gas, but because LuckyBack started with 2 gazers right off the bat, he'll catch up and eclipse Minchul's gas income very soon, although Minchul now also has his second assimilator on the way. Zealot moving out into the middle. Probe is trying to scout but hasn't found it yet. Same for this probe. Hasn't found anything worth writing home about. Zealot there just standing there in the front. I think Minchul knows where LuckyBack is located, which should be right about here. He's now also got 2 more gateways there on the way. Minchul's still on 2 gateways. He's got a Citadel of Aduna on the way. LuckyBack does not have a Citadel of Aduna on the way. He's got a Robo facility because I think he wants observers just in case his opponent is going for Dark Templars. But this is pretty much a gamble for both players because both players haven't scouted their opponent's base. So both players actually have no idea what their opponent is doing and they're purely gambling. Purely gambling. But at least they're setting themselves up by chance for success. So look at Minchul goes in, tries to get something done with those zealots, get information as well. And he confirms, that Minchul has to be going for observers there. Whereas LuckyBack probably confirmed that Minchul is going for Dark Templars. Although he also now has a Robo on the way, so he might adapt and switch into a Storm Drop instead of going for Dark Templars. LuckyBack has Cyber Core range on the way. He's trying to go for the cannon, but LuckyBack is blocking access to the cannon. He's trying to kill the cannon so that he has a free path into LuckyBack's base there for the Dark Templars, so the Dark Templars don't get attacked. But there's a support bay on the way. No observatory on the way there for LuckyBack, so he's not planning on playing it safe by having an observer out. He's planning on going straight for the Reaver drop. As Minchul is going for the Storm drop himself. He's got Storm upgrade there on the way. Got Dark Templars on the way as well, but the Dark Templars will not achieve much because there are 2 cannons here at the base for LuckyBack to protect himself against those Dark Templars. He has an observatory now on the way as well, so he can make an observer right after this shuttle. So he has that one ready and prepared for the offensive moves he's going to make here. But the Dark Templar already finished there for Minchul, who's now moving out with the Dark Templar and is going to attack the Dragoons there on the middle, which leads LuckyBack to immediately pull back. But it's only 2 Dark Templars there. He's got a shuttle there on the way as well. So this Dark Templar is going to try to keep Dragoons away from the side here. I'm sure it's going to at least try to keep LuckyBack busy, who's now making a cannon right there. He's got a shuttle finished, but a probe there on the hill for detection. Smart move, because that's pretty much the best method of getting vision of your side. But Minchul is coming in from the other side, attacking a pylon there in the front. 4 gateways coming out there for Lucky. And Templar coming in from the bottom side here on the side. There's nothing in between. He's coming in. LuckyBack is not looking at the moment because he's killing the Dark Templar. He's got all of his probes exposed there to the storm. The storm comes down there. The storm storms every single probe he's got there on the minerals. Well, he actually managed to save some of them, but he kills 17 and keeps the Templar alive, sending it back to the hill. And now LuckyBack has to start punching him. He has to start punching back, because if he doesn't punch back right here, right now, and doesn't get results, he is going to lose the game very quick here. Another shuttle there on the side, but this one gets spotted out by a probe, but there's no units, no Dragoons here to intercept the shuttle, although he's going for the frontal attack right here, right now. Some great shuttle Reaver Micro coming out there from Lucky. He's aiming for the probes, but he can't physically get through or get in. There's no observer here in the mix, so the Dark Templar is going to have a feast day, although he kills a bunch of probes there with the Reaver Shuttle Micro. Observer now on the way to detect the Dark Templar, but he's only losing a couple of his units. Reaver there unloads. Reaver there gets a beautiful shot off on some Zealots. More Dragoons here on the way. He's trying to salvage the situation, but will he be able to salvage this? That is the question. Reaver there in the back has finished. Storm Drop comes in here from Lucky, although he hasn't stormed yet. He's just hanging there to keep him scared. Probes have run away, but I think Lucky... Oh, he pulls back. He isn't going for the storm. He just makes LuckyBack pull off his workers from the minerals to distract him. But it comes in with another storm drop from the other side, but this one gets dodged completely as well. And the shuttle actually just went in and didn't actually do anything. He's just keeping him distracted. Reaver there on the side trying to get in, but it gets stormed. And the Dragoons are in the front going down. He tries to kill the... Oh, he loses the Reaver to a cannon shot and calls GG. Very unfortunate little situation there for Lucky, but Minchul comes out on top with a very well executed Protoss versus Protoss gameplay, with the feints there at the end to disrupt LuckyBack's attention and focus by making him focus on his workers. And he actually, in the end, did lose his workers. I completely missed the storm, so I'm going to rewind a little bit, because he went back in there at the end to kill the workers. Let's see, where does it happen? Oh, he goes back in with this one. He flies in, and... Alright, the probes pulled away, so he float back out. And then he goes in with this one there on the bottom side. And with that one there on the bottom side, as the probes return back to the minerals, he unloads the Templar and storms the probes to death. Saves the Templar, and beautifully played there by Minchul, using some very, very well executed multitask trickery to completely play with his food. Minchul is really showing that he is actually one of the best, fastest players of all time. Only behind Brain. Pretty much only behind Brain. That's pretty much a fact. He's pretty much the second best player behind Brain. He doesn't play as smart as Brain, but he has some absolutely incredible tricks up his sleeve. So the score is now 3-0. LuckyBack is not having any luck whatsoever. And looking at his opponent, he definitely needs some luck if he wants to win any of these matches. So let's move on to game number 4 and see how that one plays out and who wins. Can LuckyBack come back or not? Game number 4 is a Terran versus Terran. Not something we often see, but this one should be exciting. And they have pretty sweet spots here on the map. Pretty sweet spots and pretty good to see and notice colors as well. Easy to differentiate, no need to use colorblind mode. We're just going to use yellow and red. I'm going to speed up the early phase, because Terran versus Terran, nothing really happens in the early phase. Also do note, both players pick their races, so they both know what their opponent's race is, and they both know what strategy to formulate. So he goes for, both players are actually going for the exact same thing. Both players are going for a factory build. They're going to make 2 factories for vultures by going for 8 depot, 8 gas. Although LuckyBack went for about 8.5 gas, maybe 9. Followed up by a barracks. Both their barracks are about synced up, so both will have their first factory out at about the same time. Although LuckyBack might be just shy of having 200 gas to make 2 factories at the same time here, whereas Minchul has just enough gas for 2 factories there at the same time. As you can see, only 1 factory here has started. Second factory now coming up, and LuckyBack has, well, Minchul has both of them started up at the same time, but I think both players are actually synced up just well enough. The difference is not that important, so both players are actually just perfectly on track. Second depot on the way for both players as well. Both players are synchronized with their scouting pattern. Although, do note, LuckyBack started his scout a little bit later than Minchul, which also explains why Minchul has about 20 or 30 more minerals than his opponent in total. So Barrack gets lifted up. No, only need a single marine there. Both players using the marine to send it there to the front so they can kill an SCV in case the SCV there comes into their base. Actually, both players have 2 marines, which should make it easier to kill the SCV, but the SCV there makes it through for both players, so both players know exactly what their opponent is doing, but I am 100% sure both players already knew what their opponents were doing without having to find or scout their opponent. The only reason why they're scouting is basically because they want to see where their opponent is located. So both players have their vultures out. Well, 2 vultures there, 1 vulture, 2 vultures here for LuckyBack as well. He kills the pro SCV there in the bottom. SCV here for LuckyBack also went down, so both players have pretty much mirrored each other once again. He might put that Barrack down here in the front. Looks like Minchul is... I thought he was going to go for a run by to hit some SCVs, but he doesn't want to risk it just yet because losing vultures this early into the game might just expose yourself to getting run over very early, very quickly. Both players are just biding their time, waiting and sitting around as they are both adding on machine shops. Well, only a single machine shop here for LuckyBack, but his machine shop has already finished way before Minchul's machine shop has finished, and he has a starport on the way as well. So he's going for a faster tech, well, he's expanding on his tech tree faster than Minchul is, and both players going in. He gets a single vulture there, but both players, LuckyBack actually comes out on top here. LuckyBack comes out on top. Minchul being a little bit greedy, loses 2 vultures, 4 vultures there for LuckyBack. He got a tank out. He's got siege mode on the way there as well, and a second command center being built there at 2. Whereas Minchul is only just now starting his second command center, but instead of 1 tank, he has 2 tanks. He's got siege mode on the way there as well, and he's got more tanks up in the queue. Whereas LuckyBack is still making vultures and only making a single tank at the time. Barrack there flying into his base, detecting and spotting the starport, so now Minchul also knows what's up. Armory there on the way for Minchul. He's always going for Goliaths, or maybe just going for a very quick level 1 weapon upgrade for his tanks. Makes a second factory, so that leads me to believe he's definitely going for some Goliaths, because he wants to overrun his opponent as fast as he can. Machine shop number 2 there on the way for LuckyBack. Took him a while, but he has it on the way, whereas Wraith is already out there for Minchul, has a starport right there. Went for a Wraith before making a dropship, whereas he's now making nothing at all. So we're going to be seeing a tank drop here from LuckyBack and no tank drop from Minchul, but Minchul actually has his Wraith there perfectly located to snipe that dropship. So he's going to kill dropship, forcing LuckyBack to unload, and that's the first very small victory there for Minchul. Also going to kill that engineering bay there on the top. LuckyBack has his front there sealed up pretty well though, so no advancement here for Minchul. This is just a standoff that neither player can win. And another raid there coming out for LuckyBack, and he gets the first shot on Minchul's raid, which means he's gonna win the raid exchange. Also, there's a turret there killing the barrack and stopping the raid from attacking stuff right there. So the raids are chasing the raids, and Goliath has finished here for Minchul, who's now also making an engineering bay for turrets of his own. So 3 barracks there in total. Factory, I mean, not barracks. So 3 factories in total. LuckyBack now adding on his 3rd factory of his own. He's got a 2nd star, but they're already on the way. So there's small differences in what both players are doing, but the idea is kind of the same, but they're trying to outsmart each other. And up until now, it looks like Minchul has outsmarted his opponent more so than LuckyBack has outsmarted him. And he got some tanks here in the base, shooting away and preventing LuckyBack from mining. He plants a mine, kills the tank eventually, and loses, I think, about 3 or 4 SCVs. But considering he already had more SCVs than his opponent, it doesn't hurt him all that much. The thing that hurt him the most is the downtime in mining. And that's going to propel Minchul ahead by a tiny bit. As you can already see, he has a supply lead of about 10 or so. and almost the same amount of workers now. So that's pretty good there for Minchul. He gets a kill on a raid there as well because the Goliaths outclass the raids there. The raids don't do all that much damage against ground. And it looks like Minchul has also outsmarted his opponent in that regard. So Minchul playing a very well executed Terran versus Terran here. LuckyBack also not too shabby, playing it really well, but is just behind on the facts by a little bit. He's being read like a book in a lot of regards. So both players are sending out a tank drop, and they're going to find each other flying out over each other. LuckyBack here scanning the base of Minchul, although observer mode, the replay mode isn't really spotting it. And unloads the tanks there in Minchul's base, who's now pulling his SCVs away from the minerals, and he kills about 3. He only kills about 3 SCVs, so not too much, but also not too shabby. Now, dropship of his own coming in, but there's a tank here, and he's gonna roll in, trying to get closer to the workers, but he can't physically get close enough. So he's gonna siege up, try to kill this tank there, but the tank there is staying alive. He's gonna kill this tank there instead, and the tank there goes down eventually, but this tank gonna go down there as well. And we're pretty much back in a stalemate, where both players are pretty much trading equally. Minchul though, still 5 supply ahead, but as 5 supply is completely negligible, it isn't all that important. Now it's 3, now it's 2 supply. So, whoa, LuckyBack is now ahead. So they're pretty much at the exact same spot, although Minchul is not investing in turrets. He's investing in more starports, more raids, whereas LuckyBack is investing in a lot of turrets that are on the size of his base, which might be a small mistake down the line. Well, Minchul is building his turrets there outside of his base. Raids going in. Raids gonna hunt for that dropship, but he's gonna get caught, and he kills dropship, but loses all of his raids there to the raids and Goliaths of Minchul. So Minchul pretty much was prepared for that one. He was prepared to kill those raids. And so yeah, LuckyBack is... none of his attempts have really yielded any results, whereas Minchul has yielded some results. But nonetheless, because it's Terran versus Terran, the game is pretty much still at a standstill. It's pretty much completely even. The tank's moving out there over the map. I think he's going to kill those turrets here on the side, using vision over the hill to kill those turrets and get control over the sides there. He's just gonna try and box LuckyBack into his base and prevent him from leaving, while also getting control over the sides there, stopping him from building turrets here on the side, which should make it easier for Minchul to get in there. Well, now LuckyBack is flying back. He's gonna lose one of the dropships there, and he loses the units that were inside of it, because he knows he cannot attack anymore with those dropships. And now Minchul is in a very favorable position. He has gotten himself the upper hand here. LuckyBack has to formulate a successful attack very quick, very soon. Otherwise, he's going to lose the entire bottom side of his base here, which is already being threatened. The depot is also getting attacked there from over the past the hill. Goes in through the front now because he knows he has to do something, and loads those tanks very close to the other tanks of Minchul, but Minchul actually has his raids there ready to counter-attack this attack from LuckyBack, and he fights off the tanks and Goliaths heroically. He does lose a couple of his tanks there in the front, but eventually LuckyBack comes out on bottom. He loses more than he kills, and Minchul is... I think Minchul is gaining a lead here. Minchul is gaining a substantial lead. Even though his worker count is lower, he is building a massive supply lead. He has got 40 more supply than his opponent. Keeping in mind he has 10 SCVs less, which means his army size is all the more bigger than the supply count would make you believe. Depots are going down, goes in with the raids, snipes the dropships, and is microing the raids against the raids despite getting attacked by Goliaths, and comes out on top, killing a lot of the raids that LuckyBack had there, but loses a couple of his own raids in the process of doing so. But now a vessel comes in there from Minchul. He's going to try to radiate those SCVs. In he goes, he gets raided on the SCVs, and he kills about... how many does he kill? He kills one. No, he kills 2 SCVs there. So not the result that he wished for. But at least he has that option available for the future to go back in and kill SCVs, because those SCVs have lost HP and there's no medic out there for Lucky to heal up those SCVs. Goes in once again, the raid against raid fight, but neither player really gains anything out of that fight. LuckyBack is right now on with his back against the wall, trying to recover and trying to set up a good defense that disallows Minchul from progressing. But I think Minchul has himself prepared for battle cruisers here because he has that physics lab attached to his science facility. And he's got 2 battle cruisers queued up. I think a 3rd one on the way soon as well. Once again goes in with the vessel, radiates the SCVs, and this time LuckyBack has more trouble, losing another 12 SCVs to the radiate, and he lost them quite quickly. He's gonna have to keep his raids located there. He's gonna go in, try to snipe the vessel, but he's gonna lose his raids, and he kills both vessels rather quick. Without actually losing all too many of his own raids, I thought he would lose more, but he lost nothing he couldn't afford to lose. And it stops. Wait, frontal attack happening here as well. Minchul is way ahead of the curve compared to Lucky, and Lucky is going to lose his frontal portion there, although I think the Goliaths are buying just enough time for the tankster in the back to kill the tankster in the front. Minchul unsieging the tanks in the back, but raids are coming in for Lucky here, who has a pretty sizely raid mass compared to his opponent, who's switching over to battle cruisers, and now he's going to kill those tanks here in the front because there's no air to support them. More tanks rolling in here on the bottom side to try to get control of the hill, but raids here in the front are forcing those tanks to unsiege and roll back to the safety of those turrets where the raids cannot venture. But at least he has forced Minchul back into the middle of the map, out of his base, and has secured his front door, so to speak, to a certain degree, although at the moment he's still behind on supply and still behind on army size. He does have a bigger base, but Minchul is planning on catching up as fast as he can in base size, because at the moment he can afford to do so because he already has control over the map and over the sides of Lucky's base. And he's just buying himself time for those battle cruisers, and once those battle cruisers are out, he's going to dominate this game, unless, there's a very big unless somehow Lucky manages to win the fight with raids against battle cruisers. Because also do keep in mind, Minchul cannot build that many battle cruisers because he has so much supply in tanks and Goliaths. So his next move is setting up control over the top side of Lucky's base and making Lucky even smaller than he already is. Lucky has raids, but those raids don't do too well against those Goliaths that would tear through those raids with ease. So now we're going to be seeing Lucky lose the depots here on the top and those starports there as well. He's going to have to try and get control over the bottom side to mend this and build new depots there on the bottom side, basically trading control over the top side of his base for control over the bottom side of his base. He's building an engineering bay there to hover into Lucky's base to get more vision and extend the tank range. Lucky has set up shop with those tanks there on the top side to protect his top side, but the top side is too exposed to all those tanks there firing over the hill onto those depots. At the moment he's still completely fine. More Goliaths are on the middle of the map, tanks there as well, and battle cruisers are still being constructed. He's got tomato cannon on the way. Yes, I know it's Yamato cannon, but I like to call it tomato cannon. Right, he's got control past the hill now too, clearing out the remaining things that are on the low ground, while sacrificing control over the high ground and the low ground on the other side of his base, but at least he is still alive. But at the moment he's still backed into a corner that I don't see him climb out of anytime soon, because LuckyBack has a lot of control over the middle, over the bottom side here, tanks here in the mix as well, Goliaths as well, so there's nothing for Lucky to drop here. He cannot drop tanks here because there's tanks controlling this entire portion. There's pretty much nothing Lucky can do at the moment except wait for Minchul to make a big mistake, but I don't think Minchul is going to make a big mistake because Minchul has been playing this exceedingly well. EMP on the way there too. He's got, actually I haven't looked at their upgrades, but looks like his upgrades are on level 2 weapon for air, level 1 weapon for LuckyBack on the tanks, level 2 weapon for Minchul on the tanks, level 1 armor, level 2 on the way though here, level 1 and 2 on the way there for Lucky though, level 1 ship armor also on the way there for Minchul, who's switching over to mostly ship upgrades instead of ground upgrades. Now the raids are coming in for the attack here on the top side, clearing out a couple of the tanks. He knows he cannot venture towards the turret because then the Goliaths would take down his raids. And the big attack here from Minchul is these Valkyries and those battle cruisers waiting to find a good timing, a good spot to attack his opponent and put an end to this fight once and for all. Once and for all. But when is it going to happen? That is the big question. Both players are scanning everything repeatedly, very quickly. More Valkyries coming into the middle of the map. Vessel there as well to detect those raids. And he has his anti-raid combination all set up now, moving tanks into the middle of the map now too, because he no longer needs to protect the bottom side of the map. No, he can now start the attack. Raids coming in, Valkyries coming in there to finish off the raids running away for the allies, but the raids all going down very quickly. The Goliaths there on the low ground are taking care of the Goliath, the battlecruiser, but the battlecruisers are quite beefy, although they do not have their level 1 weapon, armor upgrade. Now the tanks underneath the battlecruisers are pushing forward, and it looks like Lucky is gonna come out on top here because those tanks are taking care of the Goliaths and low ground. They were his last line of defense. And now Lucky has nothing to fight against those battlecruisers, nothing to fight against those tanks on the low ground because his tanks are being taken down by the battlecruiser. Now Goliaths are spawning, and those Goliaths are gonna kill those battlecruisers because those battlecruisers are too far up in Lucky's base. Those gonna take a while because they have so much HP. But forced him to retreat. Valkyrie's hanging there, not doing much. Battlecruisers on the way here for Lucky, but those battlecruisers are gonna take a while to finish up. And during that entire, well, actually, it's now a stalemate once again. Gonna have to wait for units to finish up before we can progress into the next stage of the action. The units here on the top side got cleared out from Minchul, so LuckyBack has regained control over his entire base except the frontal portion here, where he is very slowly losing those buildings in the front, though now battlecruisers have spawned for Lucky, but his air upgrades are a little bit behind on Minchul's air upgrades, who already has level 3 weapon for his ships. That's a massive upgrade advantage there for Minchul, but LuckyBack is planning to go in very soon, but it's taking so much time. And Minchul is being very smart because he knows that if he builds battlecruisers himself right now, it takes too much time to have them out in the map. So he's switching over to mass raids to assist his Valkyries to fight against those battlecruisers that LuckyBack has on the way. But the battlecruiser count for LuckyBack is simply too small to fight into all those Valkyries and all those raids, so it's not going to work out all too well for him. And Minchul is definitely gonna come out supreme, without a doubt. In he goes. He sees his window, he sees his opportunity. He knows he has to go now before more battlecruisers spawn, and his 3 groups of raids are tearing through those battlecruisers all too quick. The Goliaths on the low are trying to do their best to kill those raids, and a lot of raids are going down because the raids simply don't have that much damage against the ground forces, but a lot of raids are still alive, and their tanks are rolling in as well, getting control over Lucky's base, and Lucky has full control over his base, and the Goliaths are taking down the last battlecruiser there on the top side, and he kills everything that Lucky had there in his base. There's nothing left, absolutely not a single unit except for those tanks there on the top side, but those tanks are not going to make a difference. They're going to kill those Goliaths there though, but I think LuckyBack is done for because those tanks are rolling up next to his mineral line, and he's going to kill his SCVs. Bam! There go the SCVs, now on 39 left. And he's threatening the command center there as well, shooting on it directly. The battlecruisers are trying to save the command center, trying to save the situation, but raids are coming in there from Minchul, killing those battlecruisers before they can become effective. And LuckyBack calls the GG, and that's a 5-0 already for... Wait, 4-0 already for Minchul. And that was one of the most intense turn versus turns final battles there. Yeah, impressive stuff here from Minchul. He's really showing. Also, do note this replay is from like almost exactly a year ago, from August 2019. But this was a really great replay. This in particular was very fun to watch. It was very different, action-packed, blow for blow. But Minchul always kept the upper hand over his opponent. LuckyBack didn't really stand a chance at any point whatsoever. He was always just a couple steps behind his opponent. Pretty much like in every single game, he's a couple of steps behind his opponent because Minchul just has such immaculate and precise planning. He knows exactly what he's doing down to the smallest details. But there's one more replay. There's one more replay, as you might have noticed, thanks to the video length. So we're going to move on to the last replay and see what happens in that replay. And in the very last replay, we have a Zerg. A Zerg. Yes, we do. A Zerg. And it's Minchul on the Zerg. brown Zerg there on location number 12 or 12 o'clock location. Whereas we have LuckyBack on the 3 o'clock location, also known as the middle right and the top middle. I'm going to speed up the first 2 minutes because we both already kind of know what they're up to. I'm going to hide that interface there, the timer. And he's going for a mid-scout before building his hatchery there in the choke. So he already knows really early on whether Lucky is going for a proxy mid-gate or not. And because he saw nothing in the middle, he knows Lucky's not going for a proxy mid-gate, which gives him some information in terms of how many Sunkens to make, how many larvae to save up for Zerglings, and how to prepare himself for the aggression he's going to be coming in from Lucky. But LuckyBack went for 2 gateways here in his base, so he has some fighting ability, which might catch Minchul off guard, because Minchul is being very greedy. He's going for 2 hatcheries before making a pool, which is extremely greedy. He's definitely assuming that Lucky went for a Nexus first, so this might hurt him quite a bit, but at least he'll have a creep colony out there in the front, although now Lucky is being quite smart, placing a pylon there in the choke to prevent Minchul from walling off the front. It's a probe against drone battle. The probe is on the losing side there, although now another probe comes in there and he saves the probe and he kills the drone, and another drone there going to go down, so he has to force it to run away and prevent Lucky from building creeps in there in the front. But he plays a shield battery just in time to prevent creep from spreading. And Lucky has himself the upper hand here, although there's a tiny little spot there where he can build a creep. Now he's going to build the creeps there in the front as well. He's going to get the probes. He kills the probes, kills probe number 2 there as well, but he loses drones in the process. And he does not have Zerglings on the way just yet because he didn't build a pool when he had to build a pool. Usually you get a pool after the hatchery there in the front, but the pool is so late. He does have Zerglings on the way now, but now he's focusing on those creeps. He cannot turn it into a sunken. He's turning it into a sunken. LuckyBack is trying to kill the Sunkens in the front. He's going to kill 2 creeps there in the front, but now Zerglings are on the way there for Minchul, so he's going to get us around on those Zealots, but the Zealots are moving towards the Sunken there in the back and going to kill it before it becomes relevant, but he gets us around on those Zealots in the process. The Zealots are microing their way out of that sticky surround. That's a lot of Zerglings here for Minchul. Minchul only has 6 drones left, which actually already is very, very bad there for Minchul, because he's going to be behind really, really far on his opponent in terms of economy and base size. He kills the Zealots there in the corner. Oh, he puts it there in the corner so he can only fight single, well, double file. Eventually it goes down, but it killed more Zerglings than it should have. So now all that Minchul has to do is keep his opponent out of his base and keep those Sunkens alive with his Zerglings, which is going to be pretty tough, although he's spacing his Zerglings out pretty well. He's adding on more drones now as well, and he's going to have to be droning up for about 2 minutes straight if he wants to catch up. But I don't think Lucky is going to give him time to do so, because Lucky has the Cybercore on the way and 2 Assimilator on the way as well, although both his Assimilator and his Cybercore are quite late because he went for that Zealot rush, which always delays the Assimilators and the Cybercore, which might give Minchul just enough time to recover. I hope it doesn't, but it does appear that he will have just enough time to recover there, because his drone count is slowly going up, although he's already going for a very extremely early gas. A little bit earlier than he has to, because he's assuming that Lucky already has his gas, already has robos out on the map, although now he hasn't even started his robo. He's making cannons first. He doesn't have the minerals for a robo yet, but I think Minchul is assuming a robo is already there. He's trying to push Sunkens forward to try and stop things from happening, but I don't think it's gonna... Well, he still had his hatchery ready to the front there. So he has to relocate his creeps there. He's making them quite compact, making it hard for Lucky to go through. Lucky went for a Stargate before a robo. Stargate is right there. And we've got the robo right here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Hatchery number 3 there on the way. Only 2 macro hatcheries there in the base, 1 in the front. So this game isn't looking that good for Minchul. It's going to take a miracle for him to come back into this one. LuckyBack is in a pretty good spot. 31 probes, pretty big army size. He's got all the tech he needs on the way. He's He's got a second Nexus there as well, so he will have more probes than he would on a single one. His economy will be bigger and bigger and bigger. As his probe count keeps growing, he's got a Citadel on the way there in his base as well for Zealot speed or for Templars. He's got 2 robots here on the middle on the way and soon a support bay as well. So he's definitely going for Reavers, but I think he's going to go for a shuttle first and shuttle in some of his units into his opponent's base to try and disrupt whatever Minchul is doing. Minchul has a Evo chamber on the way there. He's adding 2 more extractors because he needs more gas. He's adding 1 more hatcheries because he needs more hatcheries to build an army. Sending 1 more drone there to the front to build another sunken. And there's a support bay in the middle of the map actually for LuckyBack. He's building a single shuttle, and then he's going to make 2 Reavers, and once the shuttle finishes, he's going to shuttle in 4 Zealots. Also, he's in the process of killing Minchul's Overlords, but Minchul's going to have to build a Spore very quick, which he already has on the way, because he made an Evo Chamber specifically for that purpose. Although he's going to lose one of these 2 Overlords before the Spore finishes, and LuckyBack is going to fly away with that Corsair to safety, try and kill other stuff, but he finds a Spore there at the main as well. He sees a lot of hatcheries there and no units. And as I said before, 4 Zealots being shuttled up, flown over the hill, and flown into Minchul's base, which he is not prepared for at the moment because he's got no units. He does have a Hydroden on the way. He's got a creep colony on the way there for a sunken. Minchul can see it, and LuckyBack is actually not yet going in. He's waiting for more of his Zealots to be shuttled over. He wants a lot of Zealots there, and that choice to actually not yet go in might just buy enough time for Minchul to get his defenses ready, because he has the Hydroden finished, Hydroden number 2 on the way there as well. He make a lot of Zerglings first to block access to the sunken there in the back. He's keeping those sunken in the back there alive. It's actually a very good choice there from Minchul. LuckyBack now has speed. He goes in. He has a lot of Zealots there in the base of Minchul, who is now waiting for Hydralisk to spawn because he's got Hydralisk on the way. He's getting on top of the Sunkens. He's going for everything there at once, but now a lot of Hydralisk are spawning. Hydralisk are coming in for the fight. Sunken in the back goes down. Sunken in the front is going to go down as well. And he cleared out everything he had to clear out to give room for those 2 Reavers to come into the fight and kill those drones, but the drones are pulling away, so now he's to pick up the Reavers, but there's a Spore there, so he has to circumvent and fly away first. Hydralisks are on the chase, and it looks like Minchul actually comes out completely fine, completely alive. Though he's going to lose some of his Overlords and his supplies at the moment, but he is still alive. Didn't lose any drones, didn't lose all too many units, lost 2 Sunkens there, but in exchange for that, he killed a lot of LuckyBack's Zealots. But now LuckyBack is pushing here in the front, but it's going to take a while before he can actually break into Minchul's base, because Minchul had so many Sunkens there in the front. But the push might actually only take about a minute or maybe 70 seconds to commence and finish. But in the meantime, while that is happening, Minchul is waiting for Overlords to spawn, and after his Overlord spawn, I think he's going to just make a lot of Hydralisks very quick and plan to go for a surround once LuckyBack breaks through the front there. But LuckyBack is not planning on giving Minchul the time that he needs, because he's already broken through. He's already broken through, and he's got 5 robots here on the middle to build Reavers. He's got a lot of gateways here as well. There's 6, 7, 9, 10 gateways there in his base to build Zealots and run those Zealots into Minchul's base. So it's going to take a miracle for Minchul to not die here, because he is still losing Overlords, because he lost an Overlord there on the side. He's going to lose this Overlord there as well. The Corsairs have done a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of... They pretty much keep Minchul small, whereas all the other attacks have kept him small as well. And the Rush, of course, has done a lot too, because this all comes down to that choice to go for 2 hatcheries before the pool. So now the Reavers and the Zealots are coming in through the front, and Minchul he's finally gonna yield. I think this is the first time in this series that Minchul is gonna bite the dust, and of course it has to be a Zerg versus Protoss matchup where he made a very greedy choice. And now it's like, imagine if Minchul hadn't been that greedy with his 2 hatcheries, but Minchul goes in, he tries to win this with a 1 final attack, but he is not gonna get it. The Zealots and the Reavers are simply too strong for him to fight against. There's simply too many of them, and he has a drop there on the top side as well and kills all the drones who are on the minerals, and Minchul calls the GG, and LuckyBack comes out on top victorious for game number 6, but the score is nonetheless still 5 wins for Minchul, a single win for Lucky, and Minchul has definitely established his dominance. But right here in this match, Lucky really showed that he does have the chops required to win games. As we already saw in game number 2, where he was playing perfectly until he threw away his entire mass into the middle of the map too early, too greedy. But this game, this was pretty much perfect execution of how to play Protoss versus Zerg. It was absolutely perfect. He played this one perfectly. I'm impressed. Also, my voice is completely done, so I'm gonna call it quits. Also, this was the last replay, so I would have to quit anyway. But my voice is really breaking up now. I'm gonna need some water. My voice is really breaking up here. Anyway, so well, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this this series. I hope this series doesn't bug out like the last one I did between Brain and Rabbit. I hope you enjoyed it, and come back for the next video. Please come back for the next video.